Have you ever wondered who keeps an eye on the actions of the government in India? Who ensures they remain within the confines of the law? The answer to these pressing questions lies within the concept of judicial review. In the realm of Indian democracy, judicial review plays a pivotal role. It is the judiciary's power to examine the actions of the legislative and executive branches of government. This examination ensures these actions are in compliance with the Constitution of India, the highest law of the land. The judiciary in India, often referred to as the guardian of the Constitution, has the responsibility to uphold the democratic values embedded within it. This includes the protection of fundamental rights, upholding the rule of law, and ensuring a balance of power among different branches of the government. So, when the actions of the government are questioned, who has the final say? This is where the concept of judicial review comes into play. To put it simply, judicial review is the system of checks and balances. Now let's break down this concept. Picture the three branches of government: the legislative, executive, and judiciary. Each has its own role to play, but they must also work in harmony to ensure the smooth functioning of a democratic society. The legislative branch makes the laws, the executive enforces them, and the judiciary interprets them. But what happens if the legislative or executive branches overstep their boundaries? What if a law is enacted or an action is taken that goes against the Constitution? That's where judicial review comes in. Judicial review is the process by which the judiciary examines the actions of the other two branches of government. It's like a safety net, ensuring that all laws and actions align with the Constitution. If a law or action is found to be unconstitutional, the judiciary, through judicial review, has the power to declare it void. This process is not just about finding faults. It's about maintaining the balance of power. It's about ensuring that no single branch becomes too powerful, thereby preventing the potential misuse of power. It's about protecting the rights and liberties of the citizens, making sure that the government acts within the confines of the Constitution. In a country like India, with its diverse population and complex social fabric, the importance of judicial review cannot be overstated. It acts as a guardian of the Constitution, making sure that all laws and actions are just and fair. It ensures that the rights and liberties of every citizen are protected, regardless of their religion, caste, or socio-economic status. So, in essence, judicial review is a vital cog in the machinery of democracy. It's a protector of rights, a balancer of power, and a custodian of constitutional values. It's a system that ensures that the principles of justice, equality, and liberty are not just words on a piece of paper, but are actually practiced and upheld. Thus, judicial review plays a critical role in upholding the rule of law in India. But where did this concept originate, you might ask? The origins of judicial review in India are intriguing, rooted deeply in our rich history and influenced by our colonial past. The concept of judicial review was not an inherent part of India's ancient legal system. It was during the British colonial era when the seed was planted. The British legal system, which was based on the principles of common law, greatly influenced India's legal framework. The idea of a judiciary reviewing and determining the constitutionality of laws was a novelty, a concept borrowed from the Western legal tradition. When the drafting of the Indian Constitution began, the framers were well aware of this concept. The architects of our Constitution had a keen eye on the principles of justice, equality, and liberty. They wished to establish a robust system of checks and balances to ensure these principles were upheld. Thus, the concept of judicial review was incorporated into the Indian Constitution, forming an integral part of our legal system. The Constitution of India, which came into effect on January 26, 1950, made a clear provision for judicial review under Article 13. This article empowers the courts to strike down any law or government action that violates the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution. But the story of judicial review in India doesn't stop there. It evolved over time, shaped by landmark judgments and interpretations by the judiciary. The case of Kesavananda Bharati versus the state of Kerala in 1973 is a significant milestone. In this case, the Supreme Court established the doctrine of basic structure, asserting that the Parliament cannot alter the basic features of the Constitution, thereby strengthening the concept of judicial review. So, The roots of judicial review in India can be traced back to our colonial past. It's a testament to the dynamic nature of our legal system, continually adapting and evolving to uphold the principles of justice, equality, and liberty. Now, let's delve into how this process works. Judicial review in India is a fascinating process, a dance between the constitution, the courts, and the government. The process begins when a law or a government action is questioned for its constitutionality. It can be challenged by any citizen who feels that their fundamental rights, as guaranteed by the Constitution, are being violated. The Supreme Court, being the guardian of the Constitution, steps into the picture here. It is the highest judicial authority in the country, and it has the power to strike down any law or government action that it deems unconstitutional. The Supreme Court can also interpret the Constitution, providing clarity and guidance on its various provisions. Similarly, the high courts of the states also have the power of judicial review. They can examine the constitutionality of state laws and actions, and if necessary, declare them unconstitutional. The decisions of the high courts, however, can be appealed in the Supreme Court. Let's consider some landmark cases to better understand the process. One such case was the Keshavananda Bharati case of 1973. This case led to the establishment of the doctrine of the basic structure of the Constitution. The Supreme Court held that while the Parliament has wide powers, it cannot alter the basic structure of the Constitution. Another significant case was the Maneka Gandhi case of 1978. This case expanded the interpretation of the right to life and personal liberty. The court held that any law affecting personal liberty must be fair, just, and reasonable. The process of judicial review is not just about striking down laws or actions. It is about maintaining the balance of power in the country. It is about ensuring that the government acts within the boundaries of the Constitution, and it is about safeguarding the rights and liberties of the citizens. Therefore, through a series of legal procedures, the judiciary checks the constitutionality of government actions. But what is the impact of judicial review on our everyday lives? Well, let's dive into that. The impact of judicial review in India is profound and far-reaching, touching every aspect of society and politics. It's like a silent guardian, constantly watching over the actions of the legislature and the executive, ensuring that they operate within the boundaries of the Constitution. Judicial review is instrumental in safeguarding citizens' rights. It provides a necessary check on the powers of the government, ensuring that it does not overstep its boundaries or infringe on the rights of the citizens. It's like a referee in a game, ensuring fair play and penalizing any foul play. Now, let's consider an example. Imagine a law that infringes on the fundamental rights of a certain section of society. Without the power of judicial review, this law could potentially continue to harm the affected population. But with judicial review, the courts can step in, examine the constitutionality of the law, and if found to be in violation, declare it null and void. This serves as a powerful deterrent against the misuse of authority, upholding the rule of law. Moreover, judicial review is not just about laws, but also about government actions. It ensures that the government acts within the legal framework and adheres to the principles of justice and equality. It's like a lighthouse guiding the ship of governance, preventing it from straying off course. In the realm of politics, judicial review has often served as a balancing force. It's the judiciary's way of saying, "Hold on, you've crossed the line." It nudges the political machinery back on track whenever it veers off the path of constitutional propriety. In essence, judicial review is a pillar of democratic governance. It maintains the equilibrium between the different branches of the government, ensuring that no single branch becomes too powerful. It reinforces the idea of a democratic republic where the ultimate authority rests with the people. Indeed, judicial review has had far-reaching implications for democratic governance in India. So, to sum it up, we've taken a deep dive into the concept of judicial review in India. We've explored its origins, tracing back to the early days of the Indian Constitution, and have seen how it has evolved over the years to become a cornerstone of our democratic system. We've gone through the process of judicial review, understanding how checks and balances are maintained between the judiciary and the other branches of government. We've seen how the courts, through judicial review, ensure that laws and executive actions are in line with the Constitution. We've also examined the impact of judicial review on societal change and progress, and how it continues to shape the legal landscape in India. So remember, the next time you see a headline about a government action being challenged in court, that's judicial review in action, ensuring that the rule of law is upheld in our democracy.